Grand Rapids is a fantastic city, and there's a lot of reasons that people are moving to Grand Rapids. And maybe you're one of those people thinking about it. But every city's got its downsides, and today I want to talk to you about some of the worst things about living in Grand Rapids, Michigan. I'm Joel, I'm your local West Michigan Realtor, and like I said, today we're going to break down some of the downsides of living in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Let's get into it. So I want to start off with one of the most obvious reasons for some people. Now, I'll be honest, for me, it's probably one of the biggest pluses of living in West Michigan, and that's going to be snow. We have a winter that lasts anywhere from November to March sometimes. Sometimes it's as short as December and January and February. But we get all four seasons here in West Michigan, and winter is definitely one of those that we get the full effect of. Being that Grand Rapids is so close to Lake Michigan right here, just less than 30 minutes away sometimes, depending on how you get there. We get what's called lake effect snow, and that's where it picks up a lot of moisture from the lake and then just basically dumps snow as soon as the storm gets over land. So that is something that we get a lot of here, and that can be a big downside for some people. Another thing to think about when it comes to snow and winter living in Grand Rapids is that some people get seasonal depression because the weather is just so gray. And I've noticed that can be a real factor for some people, that it's just so gray outside all the time that they genuinely start to have some real depression and sadness and just general down about things. So that's definitely two big things when it comes to winter and snow to think about, is that it can last up to 5 months. We get a lot of snow, and usually it's handled pretty well, but we get a lot of snow. It can be for up to 5 months, and there's a lot of gray skies throughout those months as well, and not always tons of sunny skies. So the second thing I want to talk about with Grand Rapids is going to be limited public transportation. Grand Rapids is a city that's what I would say in the Midwest is a bigger city, but it's not obviously near as big as something like New York or Chicago, that are known for having some sort of like train or underground type of public transportation. Now, Grand Rapids does have a bus system. However, it truthfully is a bit limited at times, where routes are pretty good and will get you to the main areas, but it's just going to be limited, and it kind of is what it is. So the two main bus systems in Grand Rapids are going to be the Rapid, and that'll get you lots of places, and reliable as well, and then also the Dash. So between those two, you've got at least two options, and both offer, I think the Dash actually offers some free options, but then you can also, get like a monthly or yearly pass for those as well. So definitely can get yourself covered with that form of public transportation, but realistically, if you're going to be living in Grand Rapids, Michigan, you're going to want a vehicle, or maybe even at least a bicycle, something like that to get you around. So third on the list, I want to talk about housing prices and demand. So Grand Rapids, like I said, is a big city in the Midwest, but not near as big as something like Chicago or probably even Detroit. So Grand Rapids used to be this great, I wouldn't say budget-minded, but just you could get a lot more bang for your buck with a house. But unfortunately, those days are starting to fade. There's been a lot higher demand for this area. It's a very sought after area, beautiful area, close to the lake, lots of great suburbs and neighborhoods around it, with an affordable cost of living. But unfortunately, the days of the house prices being as low as they used to be is kind of just starting to fade away. So there's definitely more demand, and there's been less inventory lately. So those days are kind of behind us, and that is definitely something to think about. Now, there's absolutely still opportunities out there for you. You might just have to do a little bit more searching, or maybe you are going to just concede a couple things here, amenities, or maybe, I wish I was in this neighborhood. Well, we found one for the price in this neighborhood. There's definitely still opportunities out there for you, but you might have to just be slightly more picky than you were before. So something to consider, absolutely, if you're moving to Grand Rapids, Michigan. As I mentioned earlier, seasons are a big part of living in Michigan. So just recap on that briefly. If you're not a fan of all 4 seasons and having all 4 of them, maybe that's not the ideal option for you. However, we talked about winter a little bit. Spring is a beautiful time. One reason it's beautiful is because there's lots of blooming going on with the trees and flowers and whatnot. However, that does come with allergies. Now, I know my wife and my brother actually both suffer pretty bad from allergies due to pollen and things like that. And so that is something that you just need to be aware of if you're thinking of Grand Rapids being your next home. It is a very beautiful outdoorsy type city. However, that comes with allergies. So not only allergies, but I do want to also mention being that there's a lot of water, whether that's lakes or rivers near us here in Grand Rapids and just West Michigan in general, that is also going to come with mosquitoes. Now, there's ways to get around that in, ways mosquito bug spray and wear long sleeves or pants, whatever, in the fall. But that is definitely something that I have heard from other locals being a issue or annoyance of living in West Michigan. So keep that in mind as you consider Grand Rapids. I know it seems like I've talked about the seasons a lot already, and truthfully there's a lot of pros in having all 4 seasons, but there are some cons with the seasons. And one last thing about the seasons I want to talk about is that Midwesterners, or Michiganders in particular, often joke about how we actually only have 2 seasons, and that's going to be winter and construction season for the roads. And as you can imagine, basically the joke is that there is construction going on the roads basically the entire year except for winter. So that can definitely be a frustration, whether that's highway construction and possibly slowing down your drive in if you live in a suburb outside the city, or even just road blockages down in the city as well. Definitely something that can get under your skin and be frustrating, but it's part of living here. Basically, with the heat and the cold, the roads just expand and contract, and they need to be worked on all the time because of that. Now, obviously, it's not the same roads every single year, but it is a well-known, common situation when you live in Michigan and the Midwest. So that is the last thing that we will say about the seasons, I think, in this video, but definitely a couple things about the seasons and to keep in mind. Well, there you have it. Those are the things that us locals like to complain about while sipping over some hazy IPA. If you get that reference, then you know. But in reality, all seriousness, those are some of the things that you gotta think about and really take into consideration when you're thinking about West Michigan. But the truth of the matter is you make the best out of it, you take a good attitude, and you grab your snow shovel and you just get out there and you do it. Like I said at the beginning, I am Joel. I'm your local West Michigan Realtor, and I would love to help you learn more about Michigan and Grand Rapids. Shoot me a call or text. As always, I'll put my name and phone number in the video and in the description. Leave me some comments, ask me some questions, send me a message, find me on Instagram. I'll put that in the comments or in the description as well. And I would love to chat with you about even the bad things of Grand Rapids. Take care.